Hey, how's it going, guys? T&D coming back at you. So triple 100 stat builds that are all the rage in Destiny 2 and are kind of seen more as a badge of honor than any sort of significantly large in-game advantage, to be honest. But that does beg the question, how do you get those high stats? Well, it starts with getting your hands on some high stat armor. Now, you can try to grind out some master raids or maybe a master Keitel CP, but those require time and effort and, most importantly, friends and skill. Way too much to ask. I want my money and I need it now. Well, look no further, because I have for you the most free high stat armor farm we've seen in a very long time, and not only can you do it solo, but you probably have all the materials needed already. Let's check it out. Now, if you've played Destiny for any period of time, you'll notice that most vendors have armor you can purchase from them for fairly little cost. You'll also find yourself drowning in legendary armor by completing basically any activity in the game, but not all armor drops are created equal. That brings us to these guys, Umbral Engrams. Back in the day, they were a fun way for players to focus their drops into weapons and armor they were chasing after, but now they've become a bit of a nuisance more than anything else, constantly filling up your engram slots, putting you at risk of losing valuable materials in the process from your postmaster.
Side note, Bungie, please increase the engram cap to 20 at minimum. My family is dying.
So we're actually going to put these bad boys to use, and we're doing so in the Helm. In the Helm, we have the seasonal vendors offering their various Umbral energies for focused armor and weapons. Do not use the Haunted and Plunder vendors for armor, as for some reason they pale in comparison to the star of our show, the Wartable, the seasonal vendor from Season of the Risen. If you're brand new to the game and haven't done Season of the Risen, no worries, because all you need is this upgrade right here, right in the front, called Armor Decoding Clearance. This allows us to decrypt those pesky Umbral Engrams into sweet, sweet high stat armor. Now, if you go to page 2, you'll see that you can purchase armor pieces for 1 Umbral Engram, 25 legendary shards, and 4 Risen Umbral Energy. So how do you get Risen Umbral Energy? Well, this is where I either have good news or less good news. If you've already done this season, then it's great news, because it means you probably have this upgrade right here, Umbral Energy Requisition, which allows you to get Risen Umbral Energy simply from doing raids, dungeons, or playlist activities. Now, this is where it gets fun. If you go to your inventory, there's a decent chance that you're absolutely rolling in this stuff without even realizing you're sitting on a gold mine. Now, if you don't have that second unlock, I recommend you play through the old seasonal challenges and upgrading your Wartable. Until you get the unlock, you can still get Risen Umbral Energy from decoding runic chests at the end of the PsiOps Battleground missions. That's a pretty good way to get the energy as well. It's a little grindy, but honestly not too bad, especially for solo players. Now let's get into the meat of it. How good is this high stat armor? If you want to see how you can get easy triple 100 builds like this one with your shiny new high stat armor, let me know in the comments. I'll get right on that. I must warn you though, there is math involved. My apologies in advance. Well, first I need you to take a quick detour over to Mr. Ghost over here. For your Ghost, you're going to want to equip the Discipline Armorer mod. This will guarantee you that any armor piece that drops will have at least 10 in that stat. But Dylan, you may ask, I want 100 resilience. Why not equip the Resilience Armorer mod? And that's a good question. So good, in fact, that I'm going to make a completely separate video explaining why, but just trust me on this. Discipline is what you want to go with here. Finally, let's get to actually decrypting some armor. As you can see, my Hunter is a little lacking in the stats department, so we're going to try to see and we can get him a little tricked out here. What I'm looking for is some combination of 20, 10, and 2 in the first 3 stats, and somewhere between 25 and 30 for my Discipline stat. Since I'm on my Hunter, I'm prioritizing mobility and resilience, weighted more towards resilience because that 40% damage reduction at tier 10 is no joke. Warlocks and Titans don't need speed, so keep an eye on resilience and recovery instead. I'm going to grab 2 of each armor here to see what we can get. Remember, do not decrypt class items as they have no base stats without mods, so you're just wasting your materials. And let's take a look at what we got here. As you can see, the total base at the bottom is generally pretty high, and I would recommend not just going with the first set of gear you pull from here, but for the sake of farming, this is about as good as it gets. You're going to want to decrypt a bunch of engrams, check for god rolls, and then go back to playing the game normally until you're once again full on umbrals and risen energy. I promise it does not take very long to get back there. Rinse and repeat to your heart's desire. Now, like I said, I will have a more in-depth video coming where I talk about the finer details of stat distributions, but for now, this is more than enough to get you really solid builds going for endgame content. Hope this helps you guys out a ton, and let me know in the comments what are some of the best armor rolls you get from this. With that being said, that's going to be it for me, guys. Let me know any other build crafting tips and tricks you'd like to see from me. I do have a community Discord server where me and my gang of nerds hang out and talk about movies, gaming, and generally all things nerd. You are more than welcome to come join us. Links are in the description below. Anyway, that's all from me for now, y'all. Happy hunting, Guardians.
This is a neutral space, right? Like a temporary pocket dimension.
It can contains the minds of the Guardian and the Hive we subdued, and the influence of the Witch Queen.
Projections of Savathun aren't real, but they do real damage.
Lucky for us, so does the synaptic sphere. Drive it through the Witch Queen's illusions.